December of 2025. It's been a minute, right? I was just working a lot of theater jobs. Happier, taking a break, needed it. I went to the slow-rolling national event. Here's some clips of that. Arrived, time to fill the space. Set up. Sun has risen and flagging. It's 8 o'clock, so it's time to dust it off again. And showtime, filling up nicely. Wait, it's looking pretty empty. But look at our palm trees, huh? It's vacation mode.
Goddamn.
Yeah, wow. I got given the keys to this car because I needed to pick up some film for our cameras for the trophies. Oops, my bad, but cool. Fancy new Volvo 2016 T6. See, I didn't take much footage. And here's the EV. It's just been here in storage. There's Ivy still all in pieces and, you know, needing to start the work on it. This thing gets an occasional battery jump. Unfortunately, it was vandalized. Yeah, we have vandals. Somebody pried open the fuel door trying to get gasoline, saw that it was electric, broke the cap on it, kicked the door, probably out of frustration, stole the wiper blades for the headlights, and bent the mirrors, and then spray painted both sides with a gold paint. That's too bad, right? It's a real bummer. But we'll get back to it. It's just happily sitting there in storage. What I want to do actually is bring the car out and put it here. I think it's time we get working on this guy, huh? 1970 1800E. This thing has been happily sitting here nicely, intact, covered, avoiding mostly rainwater and the creeping of the plants. You can see it's surrounded by foliage, so there was some moments that, you know, twice a year I'd come out and trim it, but it's been sitting for like 2 years. Held air in the tires, what a trooper. She's a real soldier, this one. And I'm gonna start cleaning up, and the first thing I need to do work-wise is get that exhaust manifold replaced, because like I said, the Grand Canyon crack, it thing sounds like it's a Toyota Prius with the catalytic converter cut off. But a better sound, because that Atkinson cycle is just weird. So anyway, I've filled up the bin, and it's time to dry the interior out. We had another week of rain. Start to a rainy season here. Los Angeles gets what we call atmospheric rivers. When I bought the car, it was happening, and a lot else was happening. I also don't live here anymore. My bike was stolen right there. Those aren't my bikes. I still rent the garage, but I don't live here anymore. I moved. Hell yeah. Loving it. So I trimmed back this. I'm still paying for the space, so I might as well make the most of it. And this car will be put into the garage, and it's a little bit smaller dimensionally than a 164E. I'll put the dimensions up here on the screen, so I'll have a little more space to work on it. The thing with Ivy, besides losing air pressure in one of those rear tires, is Ivy doesn't really have space to work right now. I feel like I was gonna say something else. I don't know, I'm not mode. Here's the thing, heart to heart. All right, let's go. A lot of my motivation for these car work things came from one for me, one for them. Arthur, Genevieve, Bruce, the 164 electric. There's also Ivy in there, and then the 164 electric. And now that it's done, I need a one for me. Otherwise, if I just jump right into Ivy, it feels a bit like too much work, and then I get depressed. So Anton Chekhov once was quoted for saying that that writing is his mistress, medicine is his lawfully wedded wife. That's how I feel with car work and acting. I've been doing a lot of acting.
You don't!
In the last 4 months that I've been away from car work, I have had 160 auditions for voiceover work, which is very busy, very lucrative, and then a lot of auditions for on-camera stuff, but that's more in like the 10 to 12 range, not 160. So anyway, I've been busy, and it's time to do a little bit of balancing out of the scales here with this. So we'll go back here to the lawfully wedded wife, and we'll unpack some of the pieces, get an idea for what I want to do with the engine, which has been patiently waiting. This little pack of soft gels is like some sort of supplement. It is clove, rosemary, peppermint, something else, peppercorn. It's all the things that rats don't like, so I'm just leaving the lid off because it smells really strongly. But I'll clear that out soon. When I just need a nice warm day. Look at this thing. Whew. Not much to report. Fuel injected with the wrong hoses, so I'm gonna pull the manifolds off, replace some of the hoses. I need to do a fluid change like pronto because this thing is just sitting with old oil, old coolant. I don't want to start the engine with that again, but it never gets cold enough to freeze out here, thankfully. But I want to make sure she's protected. Okay, a few things will really clean up well, but there's a few things that'll give away the age of this car, like this rubber. I want to like silicone over it so that I can get a smooth edge. You know, it's easy enough to replace. I'll do it eventually, but my goal for good old Helly here, that's what I was calling her, because I think Severance was out. Season 2 really let me down, but season 1 was fun. And I think what I want to do is just get the car on the road, bare minimum stuff, so that I can just turn it on, move it every 2 weeks for the street sweeper, and then really enjoy the aesthetic of it, make sure it's insured, tracked with a GPS AirTag, and protected at all costs. Because while she's not the prettiest of my fleet of, 3-4 Volvos, she's definitely the most valuable, just being an 1800. So there's some real, she's a candidate for restoration because there's like a dimple in the roof here, a dimple in the door, a nice good scratch there. All the stuff you remember from the previous videos. Nothing has changed. It's just time to get rearranged. And the other thing is it gets dark at 4:30 now. It's 4:30 p.m. The sun has set. Things are largely the same out here. It's just funny how years will pass and cars that you leave parked are exactly where you left them. Thankfully, no worse for wear, I hope. But I did put a towel here into this channel, and then I would close the trunk lid, and that would allow any water, any rainwater that fell in here to be absorbed into the towel and then drain out through the oxygen and the gravity of it. I did the same thing back here. You can see the little paper towel that's fossilized now. That really helps get water from each of these levels as the rain cascades down and fills the boxes. And then sometimes the boxes get filled with water, so I put holes in the bottom to drain everything. These are all filled with car parts that are mostly the interior pieces of Ivy, spare parts, bonus things, whatever I didn't want in the garage. But after 2 years of being out here in the sun, these boxes are becoming fragile. Those things are breaking. This is the trunk lid for Ivy, the original one. I gotta use a junk hauler to remove it and some other stuff. I kept thinking, I'm gonna sell the air cleaner, I'm gonna sell the muffler, the old exhaust, the bumpers. I think it's just time to haul that stuff away and try to simplify my life. I can't be so worried with like the $5 to $10 transactions for the one person in 5 years that'll need a bumper. So yeah, in this economy, okay, the workspace is all tidied up. Swept. Let's get to work. It's December 5th. It's Friday. I get a couple hours of sunlight between my day job and my work on this car. Let's go through the hoses. Our fuel lines. On this one, the fuel regulator's up here. Later years, they change positions here and there, whatever. I'm trying to remember from a couple years back now, but this will help me also as I'm putting it all back together. Fuel goes down into the bottom of the regulator, from the regulator down the fuel rail on this side, wraps around. This one heads over to the cold start injector, which can break. It's plasticky, so be careful. I'm removing it on this side. And then over to the return. And then those head down the way. I'm rusty on this. And I'm hungry. A lot of rubber hoses. Not too many, but we have one from the cap, which might have been this one. This is the right length. This failer here goes to hose with the check valve to the brake booster right there. And then this little guy here goes to the distributor via this hose. Oof, crispy. Time to replace a lot of these. And then we've got two for the air valve. A couple of connectors as well. All the rubber's pretty dry on it, but the plastic is in good condition at least, so I'm being careful with that. This top one here that does a 90 degree has ripped. Yay, I could have probably saved it if I was more careful. The bottom one, the top one connects under the throttle body. There's the connection on it right there in the front. And then the rearmost connection is the one that goes to the straight out on the warm-up air control, something valve like that. To get some idea of how old these are, look at the oil filter. I don't think they make this size filter, but it's like the larger capacity one. And part of me wonders if there's a big benefit to getting the extra oil capacity for cooling purposes, because all of our modern filters are small, like the Volvo 240. So, TBD. Okay, let's continue with air hoses. You've got our manifold absolute pressure sensor here. If you suck on this hose and there's no resistance, the diaphragm is ripped. Our diaphragm is in shape. And then there's an additional hose for the air filter, depending on model year, of course. This little guy that has a very inappropriate 90 degree pinch was attached over here. You see the little nipple where my finger is? Under the throttle body. All right, wiring. You want to be super careful with your wires if they're anything like mine, dried plastic. I'm not even gonna bend the wires because they could break, and then I'd have to redo the connector, yada yada. If they're gonna work and they're gonna be able to handle this much motion, I'm gonna keep it original for now. This one here, you could see some rips in the plastic as I needed to move this back, and I needed to move this back 100%. There wasn't a way of pinching around it because it was crushed, but I needed to make sure that my plier was getting onto the plastic sides so that I could grab it from the sides with my pliers and remove it from here. This is loose as well. And look how wiggly this is. That doesn't inspire too much confidence, but I think it's secure. It's not going anywhere. Underneath, we have three very difficult bolts to get to on the downpipe. This one's the easier one. The other two are gonna be in the way of the alternator. So I might have to remove the alternator. It's nice that this is an alternator, not a generator. I forgot what year they started doing that. 68? And then we can remove our manifold. It's coming together. It's a lot of steps. I even loosened the injectors. I forgot that the injector holes are into the head, not part of the manifold. So to clear my manifold, it's just hoses. Remember, this car drove in here, which is pretty astounding considering some of the wear and tear on things. That don't sound too good. That's a rusty brake rotor. Let's have a look. Look at that. Nice. Nice. But I'm happy that I still have the wheels, because these wheels are precious. I just want another one as a spare. Or do I have? Oh, no, it's the center caps that I'm missing. Those are the real rare piece. I also need a grill and a surround piece, so if you're watching and you've got one for a good price, that's one of the problems here is I'm out of money. It's the Christmas season. The insurance payments come up every year for all the cars, all the registrations are this time of year. I'm scrapped because, you know, theater work is not very lucrative, but it is one of the few jobs that's hiring actors right now. So that's why we're here on YouTube again. Thanks for watching. Let's continue. Feel like carbon.
hast mich. Du hast mich. Treu sein für alle Tage. Nein, ja, nein. Willst du, bis der Tod euch scheidet, treu sein.
It's getting dark. We're gonna wrap it up for now. It looks so much brighter on camera, but we're gonna wrap up for the night. We've got the manifold off. I started wiping everything with the fancy wipes to get some color out of the wiring, get some color out of our painted surfaces. Look how pretty that. Look at that hose. Look at that blue fitting. It's getting there. It's looking real good. All right, folks. See you in the next episode when I get this thing cleaned up a little bit more.
Willst du, bis der Tod euch scheidet, treu sein für alle Tage.